there's no clarity. Most of us are confused now. At the beginning, we thought there was a clear total policy, and I was telling you that time to give them time. Let's see how those things will unfold, because it was too early to start condemning the policies.
Do you think it's still too early?
It's not too early anymore. We're going into 6 months. Okay. When you say there's no more official rate and black market rates, but we're still hearing about IE window. I don't know how that plays out. So we're still having another window somewhere, and so people have access to that window. Not everybody has access to it. So I'm worried. I don't understand what is going on. If I try to access that window as a private individual, I can't. So I still have to refer to the black market to get dollars. So what are we doing? The policy is not clear.
Now let's begin this conversation taking our quote first from Sam Wing. He once said, "Inflation is when you pay $15 for a $10 haircut you used to get for $5 when you had hair." But now that you have no hair, what's going to happen? Anyways, we'll take our next one, and this one is from Victor Borge. He once said, "I don't mind going back to daylight saving time. With inflation, the hour will be the only thing I have saved all year." Okay, my last quote is from Thomas Sowell, and one said, "It is a way to take people's wealth from them without having to openly raise taxes. Inflation is the most universal tax of all." Okay. Now let's see how this correlates to what we'll be discussing today. Very warm greetings and welcome to The Conversation. We're reaching you from KAFTAN TV here in the nation's capital, Abuja. My name is Annabelle Oji. All right, today we'll be talking about Nigeria's inflation. In fact, we'll talk about everything from state of the nation, the mood of the nation. We'll go to politics, the bleeding economy, and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's policies. How far so far has he been able to take Nigeria to that place where we all had hope before we went into that general election that brought his administration forth? And my guest on the show today is Terver Atser. He is former PDP governorship aspirant in Benue State. It is great to have you on the show today, sir.
Thank you very much.
Great. Okay, so let's first of all start with, because I know that you actually went on vacation. So let's start in that regard, even though I know you're not expecting me to bring that, but a lot of people will tell you that in this time, it is not a time to even go on vacation, especially with the rising cost of aviation fuel, with the rising cost of things. I have a lot of people that want to come back home to Nigeria to spend their Christmas. But all they keep telling you is, do you know how much flight is? I don't even want to think about it. So for people having, okay, let's first of all get some advice from you. How are you able to put things together and still be able to go out when you need to go out, still be able to travel when you need to travel, still be able to go through your vacations and prioritize? Let's learn from you.
Well, there's no magic. The luck I had is that I booked some tickets ahead of time.
Oh.
And so when the flights went up, I wasn't affected.
Oh, but are you not asked to pay some stipend again?
No, I booked ahead, so it doesn't change anything.
Oh, okay.
But it has affected me to the extent that I cannot travel as frequent as I would have loved to travel. Okay, this December, I should have been spending the Christmas with my family, but it is certainly not on the plate. So we're going to do an online Christmas.
Oh, wow.
So it's not easy for a ticket that you used to buy for 1 million, 1.5, now going for 5 million, 6 million. It's either
that's just ticket.
It's either you are stealing somewhere or you are a very big businessman. And I'm none of those.
And that's only for tickets, though, not even for other expenses.
Other expenses, yeah. So it's not easy. And there's no formula. You just have to have money. There's no shortcut. It's not as if the flight prices have really gone up. It's the exchange rate. Because the ticket that is still $2,000, over there, they are not seeing it as anything. It's still the same $2,000. But for us, you are earning in Naira. So you have to convert that to dollars. It goes into 2 million. Before it was under 1.5 based on the exchange rates. So that's what has happened. It's not as if the airlines have hiked their prices.
Oh.
It's the value of the Naira that has fallen.
Oh, so but some people say you get to hear that it's because of aviation fuel, increase in aviation fuel. Doesn't it have anything? Or sometimes maintenance?
No, that's not correct. I know that aviation fuel has gone up much earlier than when this Naira started the downfall. The prices were not as high as that. They were not as high as that. I traveled in December. I traveled in January, yes, this very year.
Okay.
I didn't pay up to 2 million for a return flight. And aviation fuel was already up.
Okay.
So that factor is not the main issue. The devaluation of the Naira is a problem. That's why where are the people crying? Americans or Europeans can still fly here easily and go. They won't complain. It's we that are complaining because of how much Naira we need to get $1. All these prices are in dollars or pounds or euro. Well, most of these airlines servicing these routes, they are foreign airlines. We don't have a national carrier that will charge us in Naira. So that's the problem.
So is that an issue because we don't have a national carrier? If we have a national carrier today, how much will it change anything at all? Something
happened recently, which I'm sure you are aware. APs started flying to, is it Dubai? And then most of the passengers flocked to their airline because their rates were cheaper. By the time they got to their destination, they were turned back by the host country because they were seeing that as a trade war.
Oh, you mean
because
the recent one where over 200
is taking over their market. And that's the effect of having a local airline. Because they can charge us in Naira. They have no reason to charge us in dollars. And the prices will surely be down. I think there was a difference of over 500,000 Naira difference between their AP's rates and their own airline. So you see what the impact is.
But according to them, that at the time they said it's because they had no check. There were no proper checks for those who traveled or who used the airline. That's why they bounced them back.
That is what they want you to hear because of diplomacy. They don't want to start a diplomatic war. So they will come and give you that kind of explanation. How do you board a flight without checks? How is that possible? Before I travel, I go through our local checks. Our SS will check your passport because they have their list of people who should not travel. So they must make sure you are not on that list. There's a sticker they will normally place on the back of your passport to check to mean that security has cleared you. Before the airline, because they have their agents from their own immigration officials, they also check that you are not banned from entering their country. All these things are done. Your visa must be valid. Your passport must be valid. So there's no red flag at check-in. Where did the red flag show up? At landing. So it's just aviation politics and it has to do with the economy. And this is the extent to which other people go to protect their businesses, to protect their people. I don't see that happening here because anything comes into Nigeria. But for those people, they are protecting their investors protecting their businessmen, protecting their economy. So they will block everyone that is coming to upset.
Oh, wow. But do we do that here? Or
We
it's
don't.
just a free and
Nigeria
open
is
window?
the freest country in the world. This is where you can just throw in and throw out. Our neighbors from Niger, they just walk across the border. There's no control. Most of the people you will see doing many jobs here, when you ask them, they will tell you they are from Sokoto State. They will tell you they are from Borno or one of these northern states. They are from Niger. They are our gate men. They man our gates. So security-wise, we're even compromised. They pick information, they can even be spies. So Nigeria has a very porous border. And internationally, we don't have that strict policy that prevents foreigners from coming.
That's really sad to hear. But then, remembering President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's policies, some of his economic policies, the fuel subsidy is gone, the harmonization of the Naira, the dollar, the markets, and bringing in the I and E window, trying to shut some parts and then making it, opening some other windows, the CBN policy of bringing back some of the restrictions that were given to some FX markets and all. How much has all of this done to anything at all?
Well, there's no clarity. Most of us are confused now. At the beginning, we thought there was a clear, total policy. And I was telling you that time to give them time. Let's see how those things will unfold, because it was too early to start condemning the policies.
Do you think it's still too early?
It's not too early anymore. We're going into 6 months. Okay? When you say there's no more official rate and black market rates, but we're still hearing about IE window. I don't know how that plays out. So we're still having another window somewhere, and so people have access to that window. Not everybody has access to it. So I'm worried. I don't understand what is going on. If I try to access that window as a private individual, I can't. So I still have to refer to the black market to get dollars. So what are we doing? The policy is not clear. It's like, I don't know this, there's a bird. I don't know the name in English, but in my tribe we call it bev. Bev is a bird that is very trickish. In a hot afternoon, it will just come and land in front of you on the road, and you think you can catch it. As you just approach it, it will jump to the next. You will keep, and it will take you very far away. You may even get lost. I think the government is just playing bev with us.
Oh, wow.
So we don't know. It's not here or there. Things are not too transparent for everybody to see where things are going. And it's bad for the economy because you can't plan. As a businessman, especially in the middle range, for those heavy businessmen, I don't want to call names, but most of them have political connections. They have links. They can make things happen in their favor. Not every businessman have those connections. You have to go through the rules, and then there are blockers. And then you begin to wonder why people will be confused, why we are not having unemployment. Unemployment must continue because businesses are not flourishing. There are blockers to business entities. So if the business cannot flourish, they cannot employ. Even those that are employed can be released. So unemployment will double. Every year we have thousands of graduates coming out from the universities, and there's no corresponding increase in productivity in the economy. So how do we absorb those people? And there's no deliberate government policy to stop that. So we're basically on our own. So when you hear them talking about these things, it's just about a cycle, maybe a cycle of friends
Oh, wow.
that just trying to protect their interests.
So are you categorically saying
it's not
that?
about you and me.
Are you categorically saying that Nigeria's economy is just roving around cycle of friends?
Yeah.
And not for the citizens?
It's not you and I. We are not in that equation. We are not factored in when those decisions are taken. Let me give you an example. Recently, you heard this federal capital ministry minister saying that every household, every homeowner in Abuja will pay 5 million for CRO. How does that strike you? It means for them, Abuja is for them. They want to drive out every poor man. Everybody that is not in that cycle shouldn't be here. That's what they are saying. Somebody bought his piece of land, developed it at a cost. The infrastructure there is being built by the personal effort of the owner. The government is not building any road there. It's not providing water there. There is no public infrastructure whatsoever in that estate. And you are coming to collect 5 million per household. For what? Why is that done? For what? What services are you giving to the people to tax them that much? Why not say that you are going to do it per square meter? So that there can be fair play. And you look at Abuja, you have the central district, you have satellite towns. I don't even know whether he understands what Federal Capital Territory means. Maybe he's just thinking it's the Abuja city center. Are you telling a man in Kuje or Buari to pay the same thing with a man in Wuse?
But then, don't you think that maybe that, because we always hear that this is not the Abuja master plan. Do you think that is what they are trying to do?
Does he know what the master plan is? Has he ever shown you what the master plan is supposed to be? Let's stop joking and deceiving ourselves in this country. That master plan also has a railway system, a right lay and a ray and intercity this thing, linking to the Kaduna Ray. Is that not part of the master plan?
Yes, it is.
Why has he not emphasized that that master plan must be implemented? Is that not an aspect of the master plan? There are so many other things that that master plan has, which are not being implemented. And when he came, the emphasis was on demolition. Why not build? He told us everything that will go down. He didn't tell us what will go up. So what made him believe that to perform as a Federal Capital Territory minister, your performance will be measured by how much you demolish or how much you extort the people? I don't understand. Government is supposed to be for the people. So in every position they place you, whatever policy decision you are making, you should be thinking, how does it impact the people first?
So this demolition.
So when you use that smooth screen or master plan, it's not here or there.
So now this demolition would actually be for the people in that cycle you talk about, saying, okay, I think we are doing very good. Let's just take away these shanties, take away these places.
Most of these places will be bought by them. Most of those places, when they are demolished, they will acquire it for themselves. It's not for you and me. I keep saying it. It's not for you and me. Nigerians are deceiving themselves that they have a government in place. I've been monitoring government since the military era. I've been following things in this country for this close to 30 years. And I can tell you with authority that the government in Nigeria is not structured for the people, whether the military or the civilians. The military were protecting the military interests and their own setup. The civilians, the politicians also protect their own interests. We are 6 months into the government and people are already talking about 2017. You have a 4-year mandate that you have not exhausted one quarter and you are talking about 2017.
But then let me ask you, Engineer Terver, I remember when we started this conversation and when the government just came in, you were so optimistic. What changed?
I told you I was giving them time. Because when these people make promises, you are not reading their mind. I'm not a mind reader. I take them by their words. And then I begin to watch how they will translate those words into action.
So what made you believe so much if you've been following the politics
I
since
didn't
the
believe
military
them so,
era?
I didn't believe
like
them
you
so
said.
much. I was giving them the opportunity. It's not that I didn't vote for APC, for crying out loud. I didn't vote for them. Remember?
I know.
I'm even a member of the PDP.
Yes, I know. But,
Okay,
but you were so optimistic at the time.
I couldn't, because of partisan interest, not give them a chance. Okay? The key word there is, let's see what they will perform. I thought it was too early for me to condemn whatever they are doing. And some of the policy decisions they made, if implemented properly, they will yield good results. But the implementation seems to be nowhere. We're not seeing it. Okay, in the petroleum industry now, they keep shifting the goalpost when the refineries will come on stream. That was part of what the subsidy removal was supposed to achieve, so that local refineries will begin to work and will stop importing fuel. But I was even surprised when the GMD of, what's the new title they gave him?
NNPCL.
Of NNPC Limited, was saying that even if Dangote Refinery should come on board, the prices of fuel will not go down. And his reason was that Dangote will be importing spare parts from outside. Are you kidding me? So was that the only cost that constituted subsidy? Was just no impact from the landing cost from importation. The shipping of refined products from abroad didn't have a cost to it. So the subsidy they were paying was it for spare parts? And this is the man at that top who should understand the economy and the engineering and everything in the oil industry, coming to deceive the people publicly. Why? Because they did not like the situation, the fact that Dangote Refinery may be producing locally and it will drop the prices below the levels where they have fixed it for their benefit. So they were seeing Dangote as a threat. They started bringing those blockers that, okay, and the price will not come down because, in fact, he will have to import crude. Why should he import crude? He said they have already signed agreements with foreign companies to supply them over a long-term period of time, so there will be no crude oil for Dangote. You see how they are blocking everywhere. Why not have a deliberate policy that if we are producing 10 barrels, 6 must be refined locally? Why not make that policy? It is in their hands to do. But they are rather telling you why it cannot happen, instead of saying why it must happen.
All right. You've actually pushed me to the next question I was going to ask, or the next topic I was going to look at, and that's with regards to the refineries. And then we listened to the NNPCL's GMD with all the statement that he made in the National Assembly. So I'm going to ask you 2 questions, and I'd like you to take them in one breath. Now, one is with regards to the refinery. We're already in November. In fact, we're already in December. And then we're looking at the fact that by the end of the year, at least we should be looking at Port Harcourt coming forth, and then some other refineries coming forth like he has promised. And then we hear the Senate saying that they were going to take him off if he does not keep to his word. And I'm imagining, I heard someone say on radio that the Senate impeaching or sacking the NNPCL's GMD is just like that's the example he gave. It's just like Arsenal winning the Premiership, whatever that means. I'm sure he was actually joking though. So now I'm going to ask you: is there any lights in that area that those, even though we are already in December, that the refinery is going to come up anytime soon? That's one on the side. And then secondly, I had I guess that we were talking about the Dangote Refinery, and then I asked him the question that, do you think that the Nigerian politicians and economy is doing or finding ways to stifle entrepreneurs? Because if we remember what happened during Virgin Nigeria, and then when they left the country, we had the CEO, that's Richard Branson, say that Nigerian politicians are deliberately stifling entrepreneurs in Nigeria. Is that what we are seeing at the moment when you talk about Dangote, people trying to block every loophole to help that individual?
Okay, let me start with the last question. If I still remember the first one, I will go back to it. I said it earlier that government policy is always not about the people. You have some international airlines. Okay, in the United States, they don't have a national carrier that is owned by government, but they have supporting certain airlines as their flag carriers. These airlines are protected by the government through taxes, tax waivers. They facilitate so many things for them so that they remain airborne. That is a conscious decision taken by the government to protect business interests for the sake of the people. Coming back to Nigeria, the survival of the fittest. The government, if it has interest in a particular business, if any of the people in government, they have interest in your business, they will make it flourish. If not, by the time they go out, another sheriff comes in town, they block you. That is what I see happening with the Dangote Refinery.
Are you saying the former administration
I'm not saying that authoritatively, but I'm suspecting that.
Interesting.
Because if you look at the zeal with which Buhari was supporting the project, that zeal it seems to have collapsed the moment he left. That is just my opinion anyway. Then your second question, the first question was about...
I asked two questions there.
The Senate
and then the refinery coming up by the end of this year.
It will wait for that to happen. Let's wait for it to happen. Let them disappoint us. Disappointing us in the sense that if it comes online, I will be disappointed. Because I don't trust them. Do you understand what I'm saying? Let them prove me wrong by making it come alive. Like I told you about the BEF, they'll just give you deadlines. When you get there, they will shift it. They will keep shifting it. I've been hearing refineries since turnaround maintenance. They keep saying it as if it's rocket science. And this is not rocket science. But they make it so difficult. It's something they make it look so difficult because every year there's budget that we vote for this thing. If the refinery start working seamlessly, there will be no money for turnaround maintenance. And then somebody will not eat. So that whole turnaround maintenance became a cash cow for some people. So it must happen. They must put it in their budget every year. And if the refinery is working, you cannot justify turnaround maintenance. So you can see how the thing is played out. Let me tell you a story. There was one man in my street where I stayed in Port Harcourt before. The street was very bad. And they gave him a contract. He's a chief. He was a chief in that place. So they gave him a contract to repair the road. So this man went and bought cement, concrete, sand, and started mixing it as if he was casting a decking for a house. And the youth came to him and said, "Oga, this thing you are doing will spoil tomorrow. Why not do it well?" The man said, "You people are not smart enough. I thought you should be wiser than this. I'm doing this for you." They said, "How?" They said, "Today is my turn. If I finish this road, tomorrow there will be no contract.
Interesting.
But I am leaving the remaining one for you. Next year, they may give it to you." So the things that we elders will sit in the ground and see, you guys will sit on the tree and you will not see them. That is the mentality that was keeping the refineries down. And even now, one sheriff goes, another one comes. When they come in, they will not see those opportunities. They will shoot it down so they can extort. So if they say January 2024, I'm giving them the opportunity to prove me wrong.
So if January 2024, the refinery comes up, it means that somebody will not eat from TAM anymore.
No more.
Oh.
Yeah. Why would you be maintaining something that is working? If your car is running very fine, you just service it this month. For new cars, if you just service you change the engine oil, it should last you for 6 months. If you buy the quality one, it should last you for at least 6 months. The refineries have a turnaround period of more than 2 years. So you are not supposed to be shutting them down every 1 year that you want to do turnaround. And even this can be done in sections.
Okay.
You don't shut down the whole plan that you want to do turnaround. Because the equipment have maintenance plans. So you sequence it. You can shut down one line, work on this line, return it to production, work on this line gradually, and you won't have a total shutdown. It's possible. So let's give them a benefit of the doubt.
All right.
Then
because
coming to the Senate,
yes,
to the Senate, sacking, that's a tall order. But I know the Senate for who they are. They always make statements that cannot be backed either by law or by action. What do I mean? Sometimes you will hear them telling the president to sack somebody. Has that ever happened? Sometimes they invited a minister, the man refused to come. They said the president should remove this man. Did it happen? There are limits to what the Senate can do when it comes to executive decisions relating to employment. Because even positions that need Senate confirmation to become valid, they don't need Senate confirmation to be sacked.
Okay.
As a minister, for instance, for you to be validated, the Senate must confirm. But when the president wants to sack you, he doesn't need to go back to the Senate. So the Senate has no role whatsoever to play in sacking an appointee of the president. Now, coming to the GMD or whatever, I don't know that his job title very well. He is more like a CEO of a limited liability company governed by the Corporate Affairs Commission. There are procedures for sacking and employing such people. The Senate is not part of it. So what are they saying? We expect them to know better than this. But when they just make political statements to sound good, I just laugh. Because you can't order him to be sacked. There are procedures that will have to be followed.
And I'm sure he even knows that too.
The board, there's a board. The Senate is not a member of that board. A member of the Senate may be a member of the board.
But how about the committees that they have
Those
in the Senate?
Which committee?
From the Senate House, the committee of mainstream,
they're just
downstream,
the oversight
committee of
function.
this.
Their oversight function doesn't extend to that.
It doesn't. They don't have a board.
They don't have a voice in how those people are employed. And their oversight function is only to the extent that it encroaches on the budget, on the appropriation they passed. For instance, if NNPC or NNPC Limited, a part of the shares are owned by government, and if government through the budget allocates funds to sponsor their projects, which were appropriated by the Senate in the first place, the Senate has oversight to look into those areas. And that is where it is limited. It doesn't go beyond that. They can't go and order that, remove the... It's not done now.
All right, I hear you say political statement, and it just reminds me of the statement about we will send prayers to your email, or the statement on, in fact, we've heard quite a number of them. But then let's go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll continue this conversation with Engineer Terver Atser. I'll see you later. Join us again.
There's nothing Tinubu has said he will do that has not been said by previous governments, presidents. So there's nothing fantastic or new about promises. Promises are just what they are, promises. And every government always comes with a slogan. Some will say 12-point agenda. This one will come and say new down.
ERGP.
This one will, so those are slogans. Whatever slogan a government comes with, the needs of the people remain the same. Okay?
Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is The Conversation, reaching you from KAFTAN's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. If you just joined us, you've actually missed out on the first part of the conversation, but then we're going to the second part of the show, and my guest of the show today is Engineer Terver Atser, former PDP aspirant, a governorship aspirant in Benue State. Okay, before we went on that break, we've actually talked about quite a number of things, but before we leave the Nigeria's economy now, let's because we were talking about political statements, and I hear President Bola Ahmed Tinubu say that his economic policies, due to his economic policies, or the policies that he has reeled out, that he should be put in Guinness World Book of Records. So, and I hear you say that we should give them time before now, but now you say that you've given them time, is almost 6 months, and you have no reason to, you are no longer optimistic. So if he made that statement, is he, with what you've seen already on ground, does their policy, or do they deserve being a GWRD?
My people in Benue have a proverb that says, "One thing I will kune kaga, but vina no dolum tio."
You're going to translate that for us, right?
Surely I will. It means even when your drum doesn't sound well, as far as you are playing it, you dance to the tune.
Interesting.
That summarizes my answer to that statement. There's nothing Tinubu has said he will do that has not been said by previous governments, presidents. So there's nothing fantastic or new about promises. Promises are just what they are, promises. And every government always comes with a slogan. Some will say 12-point agenda. This one will come and say new down.
ERGP.
This one will, so those are slogans. Whatever slogan a government comes with, the needs of the people remain the same. Okay? If you know about the theory of hierarchy of wants, proposed by a psychologist called Abraham Maslow. He says there's a triangular cone that at the bottom there, you have the basic needs of the human being. You have the security needs. Then you have social, all those prestige. Then you have fulfillment at the top up there. Now, the duty of government, essentially, anywhere in the world, if a government is to succeed, he needs to work on the bottom line.
That's where you have the psychological needs.
That is where government is supposed to work. Protect the people's lives and property, secure their daily bread every day, secure their lives, then secure the freedom to go about searching for. Now, you increase the price of fuel overnight, the people cannot move freely to find food. Those people, their brain cannot function optimally. So if you look at every country that has advanced technologically, that country has settled the people at the lower launch.
Okay.
They have taken care of those people. all those basic needs are fulfilled, then the people are liberated to begin to think science, to begin to invent, to begin to solve problems. Somebody like Elon Musk can begin to think about going to Mars because food is not his problem. What his children will eat tomorrow is not his problem. The country has taken care of that. But Nigerians are still at that level.
You're thinking of
In
food
fact,
security first.
Even people who are in the middle class has been pushed back to the lower level now. So we're all struggling there. So we can put your name in the Guinness Book of Records, but the people are still where they are. Our needs have not changed. Terminologies of government approach can change, but we want to see the bottom line. As big as London is, every 5 minutes walk from your residence, there's a bus stop. And the bus is coming to that station in 10 to 5 minutes. So even if you don't have a car, you can move around the city freely with just your card. That bus is moving. Whether people are inside or not, it is moving. And when you stand at the bus stop, it tells you the next bus to the next line they have names, they have numbers. So this number stops at certain stations. So you know where you are going, you already map your route. If I take bus 24, it will take me to so bus stops. And when you stand at the bus stop, it tells you that bus 27 is coming in 5 minutes time. And in 5 minutes time, that bus is there. So you can even plan your journey, go anywhere you want to go and come back to the house. Why have they not thought about doing the same in Abuja? Is it just demolition and extorting people, say pay 5 million? Is that what will make the people to be happy? Is that the welfare of the people?
There's a question someone asked me.
So if he wants his policies to be entered in the Guinness Book of Records, it's nothing strange. Even a cook has her name in the Guinness Book of Records.
Okay. Okay, sorry, I had to butt in. There's a question someone asked me. And then he said, what happened to when the landlord, the Abuja landlord first came, he had this push of immediately I come in, I'm taking in open grazing, no more open grazing, all these cows around the Abuja towns and all, we're taking them out and we'll deal with them. If we catch them, we'll put them in prison and all. But then at some point, it looks like they're not tilting towards that angle anymore. So somebody asked me that, so does it actually mean that, because these cows, most of them are not even owned by those Fulani boys that are pushing them around. So it's owned by some of the big shots in town. So does it actually mean that the Abuja landlord have decided to soften his pedal in that side, but when it affects other persons, they want to run back to the streets again?
Basically, I don't even have problem with cows within Abuja City. I don't have problem. If you go to a place like Gabon, you have elephants which are in the wild. They don't even have a herdsman around them. These elephants, they roam about. They can even come to your window and push this thing through. People live happily with them. It's eco-friendly. It's a kind of eco-friendly environment. If we build our cities in an eco-friendly manner, even the cows, the chickens, we live with chickens in our houses, right? We can live happily with them because they are part of us. They are part of our economy. It's just for us to mark no-go areas. For instance, if I have a garden where cows shouldn't go, it is not too much headache to say, let there be a perimeter fence around that garden, a dwarf kind of thing that cows cannot jump. Okay? So why have we not thought in that direction? It's not just driving. These people are also residents of the Federal Capital Territory. Okay? Forget the fact that we stigmatize and make it look like they don't belong here. No, they are indigenous of this place. So if they must pass through the city, why not? But then demarcate areas where they cannot go. That's all. And if you value those areas, barricade them, put infrastructure that prevents encroachment. That's all to it. It's not being sensational about I'm going to drive off Fulani. That doesn't add up to me. It doesn't make much sense to me. So maybe he was coming with that zeal, coming from another party and taking that position, and it was something that was exciting. Everybody will be excited. I will be excited. So out of that excitement, I can make very fabulous statements. It's possible. But when reality sets in, he has to calm down. Because every city has landlords. If you go to Lagos, there are people called son of the soil. They are there.
They are moniles.
They are there. Some things you want to do, they will tell you can't do it. If you go to Onitsha, you are from the southeast, I guess. They were telling me that a landlord in Onitsha can tell you he wants to bury his person in your bedroom. And you have to give him chance. He will have to come and dig the grave, bury the person, seal it up, and you come back later. I have not verified it. But they were emphasizing the fact that they can bury people in there. That is their culture there. So you can't come to Onitsha one day and say you are going to abolish that. It will not work. So Abuja has some residents who were there even before the city came. And every decision we are making, we must be sensitive to that. Unfortunately, when they were building the town, their vision was that of a small administrative city where all the elites and government functionaries will stay. They never envisaged that the poor people will also want to come and cohabit with them. Now
looking at maybe their securities, the big man security man, his
they never
chauffeur.
envisaged that. Or those people have to live in the outskirts because they cannot afford to stay in the city and pay exorbitant rents. That's why satellite towns are coming up. And these things were not envisaged from the original master plan. So we need to be inclusive and start seeing how we can integrate them. Do you understand? It's not pushing everybody away. Because without them, Abuja will not function. The corn seller, the food seller, the driver, the
vulcanizer,
they make the city work.
Definitely. Okay, let's leave the economy and go straight to politics. But before we touch on politics, I'm going to ask, still on that politics, two questions, and I'd like you to take them together. One is, I know that the Abuja landlord, he is a PDP member, and then he is working for the APC, and then he said there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. So are you having an issue with the fact that he's in my party, but there's some anti-party activities that he's actually going into? That's one on the side. Secondly, going straight into politics, looking at all that has happened this last few days, from the Kano verdict, the appeal court verdict in Kano, and then now going to Nassarawa and all that has happened, and then you go back to Plateau State. And then looking at all that, we all went into the election voting who we wanted to vote. At the end of the day, it happened this way. The tribunal was set in, and then now the appeal court is saying something else. At some point, they said, looking at the Kano state verdict, that there's a clerical error. But some people say that's a scandal, and then it should be punished. Let's talk about that. From Kano to Nassarawa to Plateau State, and then others. What gives? What are we missing out?
The first question was about Wike being a member of the
PDP and then
playing in the APC.
Does it bother you that there's anti-party activities there?
Well, from the PDP point of view, it's anti-party. Okay? But from Wike as a person, it's his personal interests that matters. So, I have no problem with government of national unity, for instance. When somebody wins and he says it's not winners take all, and he decides to bring members of the opposition to work with him because the interest is just about the nation and not party lines. That's a German way of looking at it. But when you poach a member of a party, you are using him to destabilize that party. And he is a willing player. It's just a matter of conscience for the person himself. Okay? I didn't see Tinubu as saying he's setting up a government of national unity. So for Wike as a person, integrity demands that he leaves the party. Okay? Because it makes no meaning whatsoever. For you to say, I'm still in PDP, you are destroying the PDP, you are working against it.
Is he destroying the PDP?
He's destroying it now. He started destroying it during the G5. And he succeeded. So there's really no point. If you are not interested in PDP anymore, move. It's free entry, free exit. It's a matter of personal integrity for you. Because for me, I can't trust him. For me as a person, I can't trust him. That's what it means for me. Because integrity demands that I'm no more in PDP. I want to work for the APC. It's not a government of national unity. My party is not playing part in it. So, and I don't want to remain in PDP any longer. Take that bold step and move out. But saying one leg here, and you are destabilizing, just hitting up the polity and making, I don't feel he has enough integrity in that. Personally, I won't do that. If I agree to work for the opposition, I will move. Like I told you, I have not signed a bond with PDP that will remain with them forever.
That's what I was going to ask.
No.
And then what if your ideologies are still...
If time comes and I have reason to move, I will move. I will move.
So isn't that what he's doing? Why is it the problem?
Let him move. What's keeping him too long? Let him move. He could have moved since.
But what if he doesn't move because he doesn't want to, because he loves the ideology?
That is what I'm saying is a matter of personal integrity. No, there's no law compelling him to move, but the PDP can also remove him if they want. I also don't know what is holding them. Because if you say somebody is doing anti-party activity at that level, there are structures in the party that can discipline you. So they can activate that as well. So it's not just about him leaving. It's also about PDP saying, okay, this man is now a nuisance. Let's let go of them.
What if when he says that nobody can unseat him?
That is not possible. They can unseat you. You are not greater than the party. Nobody is bigger than the party. The party can remove you. If the national leadership of the party wants to remove him, they can do it. And heavens will not fall. The only thing is he can go to court.
All right.
But all these things, it's just, even, let me also take you back to the so-called G5 that was formed. Now, when politicians form ties, it is always about protecting their own personal interests. Let me give you another scenario that could have played out. Have you imagined that on that corridor from Port Harcourt, Abia, Enugu, Benue, which was a belt, those governors were on that line. Why didn't these governors say, let's collaborate as G5 and build a rail line that will link Port Harcourt to Makurdi? Why was that not in the agenda? Have you seen governors come together and say, let's collaborate across our states and do something that will benefit our people? No. The only time you hear them coming together is to wrestle political power, to struggle for personal survival. So for me, it is just about himself. Whatever he's doing is for himself as a person. It is not even for the Rivers people. It's for himself as a person. And I wish him good luck, because if it works for him, fine. But the key word there is integrity. Integrity.
Okay. Let's go straight to the next question I asked about the judiciary and the political party and all that has been happening ever since after the elections.
Well, I don't like talking about the judiciary. Two things, because I'm not a lawyer. And then secondly, you also find out that the more we disparage them, the more confidence people will lose in the judiciary. And that is the last hope of the common man, so to say.
Okay,
But it
okay,
is,
engineer, sir, let me rephrase the question. We're not talking about the judiciary now, but you as a politician, if this happens to you, what happened in Kano State between the NNPP and the APC, or what happened in Plateau State between the former governor and the recent governor, or what happened in Nassarawa State a few days ago that we just heard, if it happens to you, what would you do?
if I go to a court and the case doesn't favor me, I go to a higher court. If the higher court is the last court in the land and they still don't favor me, I go back to my house. The bottom line here is this. Most of these judgments have technical issues around them, and that is why our electoral system should be made to work. A situation where we allow things to go to the courts, these things are always bound to happen because there are procedures the judges are looking at. And if there's a technical error, they may not even go to the main case. They can just base their judgment on the fact that this person did not fulfill this condition and its technicality, and you will lose out. And those things are part of law. Do you understand? So every judgment, every case has its own peculiarities. And no two cases are the same. No two cases are identical, like identical twins. There could be variations here and there. So it's unfortunate that so when the judges capitalize on technicalities, majority of the people see them as compromised. Because in their giving judgments, we expect that they will also look at the common good, the overall good of the country. That element seems to be unfortunately missing in some of the cases we are seeing. And to even say that there was a typographical error in the writing of a judgment, that shouldn't be heard of. It's a scandal.
Okay,
it shouldn't be heard of.
So since you say that if such happens to you, and then you would go
what
home.
What would I do?
If it happens to you that a clerical error, maybe in terms of what was written and from the headline, and then something else was written in the body, if it happens to you, would you just leave it and go home?
If there's a higher court that can hear me out, I will approach them. But there's also a possibility of going back to the same court and asking that court to reverse itself. It's also part of the process. You can do that if you are too determined. But for me, I always tell people that it's not a do or die affair. Even when I went to contest, I wasn't desperate for anything. I went there to seek an opportunity to serve. If they gave me, I would have done my best. They didn't give me, I've gone back to my job. That's my attitude. But for people who see this as a life wire, that they must, then you hurt yourself. You begin to strategize even outside the law. They start doing things that are not. But as far as I'm concerned, when a case is in court, the judges have the final say. And whatever they rule, if you cannot challenge to a higher court, then you are stuck. You accept it and go home. But if it's a Supreme Court, for instance, you can go back to them again and say, look at this thing, I want you to reverse yourself. It's a possibility, which is rare anyway, but it can happen. If you can actually persuade them and they are convinced, they can reverse themselves.
Okay. So do you actually think that there should be a punitive measure?
What kind of punitive measure? From who?
From the Judicial Council, from the NBA, to whoever made that clerical error.
NBA have their procedures for sanctioning people. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a member. So I wouldn't know what that means. So if there are channels where such is done, let it be done, but I'm not the one recommending it. The judges, they also have the National Judicial Council. They also have their judicial disciplinary committees. It is also their prerogative. It's not for me to come and tell them to do this or that, because I'm not an expert in that area. I don't know anything. So I wouldn't say anything beyond that.
All right. Like I said, I'll be waiting for when such happens to you. Then I will call you back again to ask you how were you able to deal with it.
Personally, I don't.
Because it's all of us that says that you always fight to win, or you ensure that you don't chicken out. So I'll be waiting to see when it happens to you, and then how you are able to deal with it then.
Well, let's get to the bridge. We'll cross
They
it.
will know how to cross it, yeah? Thank you so much, Engineer Atser. It's always a pleasure having this talk with you.
You're welcome.
All right, viewers, that's where we end this conversation for today. Time flies when we're always discussing serious matters that concerns our very own country, Nigeria. It's been a wonderful time having this conversation as we have been chatting with Engineer Terver Atser, former governorship aspirant in PDP, that's in Benue State. And it's been a wonderful time talking about Nigeria's economy, talking about politics and the judiciary. I will see you next time. Keep watching the conversation, because you never know who my next guest will be or what my next topic will be all about. Till I come your way again from the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Annabelle Oji. God bless you and yours, and God bless Nigeria.